Topic of discussion that results in many bad horror films? Aliens. Now, before any of you freak out like, spoiler much, well, let me explain something. The marketing of the film doesn't hide the fact that it's aliens, the tagline of the film doesn't hide the fact that it's aliens, and, well, the title of the film doesn't hide the fact that it's aliens. Dark skies. I mean, really, think about it. The tagline says, once you're chosen, you belong to them. And the poster is literally someone going like this, and there's a beam of light. What are you going to think the film is about? I mean, most of the shots in the teasers and the trailers come from the third act of the film. So the fact that it involves aliens is not that big of a spoiler. Now, here's one of the major problems with the film's story. Well, two major problems, in fact. One, it assumes the audience has never heard of alien encounters or alien abductions or anything of the sort at all. And two, it doesn't focus on any of the characters it introduces, despite what it might lead you to believe. I mean, when you really think about it, is the main character of the dad? No. He's somewhat active and proactive in trying to figure out what's going on, but you don't really learn about his personality, you don't follow him that long. Is it the mother? Well, no, because it's the same case. She does proactive stuff, she leads to some revelations, but you don't know that much about her. You just know that she's a realtor and that she's a mother, and that's it. Is the main character the kids? No, because you don't know enough about their personality, and they don't really contribute anything to the actual progression of the story. And so, it tries to essentially introduce all these characters and expect us to care about them, but it doesn't develop their personalities. We don't know anything about them aside from the initial roles we're given, that we see them as. And even then, it has these scenes that try to pass off as development, but it doesn't even succeed in developing the characters. Now, if you combine that with the fact that it tries to constantly tap down around the information that the audience already knows, the fact that aliens are somehow involved, just makes it even more infuriating. It basically makes the build-up that they're trying to build up feel really long and unnecessary because we already know what it's leading to. The biggest thing that really cinches it is the stupid plot twist. I'm not going to spoil the plot twist, at least not in this particular review. If I decide to go red letter media on the movie in the future, then I probably will, but let's just say the plot twist, one, completely goes against everything that they've established in the film, everything that they were building up, everything that they were exploring, and two, we don't know the characters that well, so the plot twist doesn't even really feel that effective. And that's the bigger thing, is that the plot twist just makes no sense. And you can tell that the people behind it knew it didn't make any sense because they literally tried to do damage control in the resolution. I'm not kidding, they literally tried to find a way to tie everything full circle, but it's done in it's done in a way that a college filmmaker would do it. I mean, I've done the same thing where I've tried to tie everything together after the fact. It's almost as if they were shooting the movie and they're just like, well, crap. We just have this huge inconsistency in the script. We've only got a certain amount of time to shoot it to correct it, and so they're just like, okay, well, we'll just throw this scene and we'll fix it in post. That's what it felt like. I felt like they were doing damage control in post-production. And speaking of surprising plot twists that come right out of left field, this film also feels like a big rip-off of a lot of M. Night Shyamalan films. I mean, think about it. If you took The Happening, Signs, and Paranormal Activity and threw them in a blender, this is the film you would probably get. I mean, they rip off quite a few scenes from Signs, particularly in the third act, where you've got the family kind of reminiscing about the past, kind of having their sort of last meal thing and the huge standoff against aliens. They even rip off the friggin' radio scene. They rip off the radio scene from Signs in this movie. Beat for beat, they rip off the radio scene. And then you've got stuff from The Happening where the bits of dialogue that actually do sound good is the stuff where they're reminiscing about the past that doesn't even seem relevant to the actual story, to what actually is going on. It rips off a lot of stuff from other films. I mean, they've got the Paranormal Activity tropes where they've got, oh yeah, they've got security footage, infrared cameras, and all that stuff that have been saturating the genre so much. And yeah, the film is a mess. Now, one thing I can give the film credit for is that the final major suspenseful climactic scene where the aliens are essentially like coming to the house and all the stuff that everything's been built up is leading up to, that scene in particular is actually really well done. It builds up the suspense visually, and it has all the necessary beats, and that's what makes the plot twist all the more infuriating. It's just a case of, you have all this build-up, you built this stuff throughout the entire movie of boring exposition, boring character development that isn't even really character development, and then they immediately kill it with a plot twist that comes so far out of left field that it basically undoes everything they just built up. If you haven't guessed by now, I did not like this movie. I didn't like it at all. It just, the first and second acts are filled with a lot of boring exposition, tap dancing around information we already know, and it has followed by a nice, very well done suspense scene, only to have it undone within a few minutes, and then the people trying to do damage control with the story after the fact. This film is a waste of time. This is the one time that I actually said like that, oh yeah, if you like this one, you're probably into. Like, no. Even if you're into like films about aliens, this film is not worth it. You're better off watching the UFO episodes of Unsolved Mysteries or that Unsealed Alien Files. Basically anything that doesn't actually require you to pay money, full price theater money, or even dollar store theater money to see. I don't recommend it to anybody. This is a terrible film. So on my personal scale, I'm giving Dark Skies a 2 out of 5. Reason why I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 instead of a 1 out of 5 is because the suspenseful scene in the third act is worth seeing to a point. I mean, it's the best scene out of the movie. It feels almost kind of like that itself should have been the movie instead of trying to build it up and build it up and build it up. And that plot twist, ugh. Basically, that scene is a good scene. I'll give it that. It's a good scene, it's shot really well, the editing's really good, has a nice pace to it, but everything else just doesn't make it worth it. So that's why I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 instead of a 1 out of 5. Because that's the only redeeming factor, but it's not worth everything else that is attached to it. So yeah, that's it for this week's episode of Romney's Reviews. As for next week, I'll be reviewing Jack the Giant Slayer. Let's hope that it's a lot better than this film. Well, given that the trailers already make it look a lot more promising, it probably will be. So yeah, I'll see you all next week. Yeah, end screen time. Here's the previous review, here's a random video, and I'm going to take this time to plug in something that will probably be going up either Sunday or Monday, probably Monday. I've essentially been asked to judge a 48-hour film festival competition, and me and this other judge, Dylan Moses Griffin from Inside Job Films, are the two judges, and so essentially we're turning our judging thing into a sort of Siskel and Ebert sort of review show where we look at the short films that are created by the different teams that are competing in the competition, giving our comments on it, and kind of voting, doing the thumbs up, thumbs down thing. I will be putting a link here as soon as it goes up. I don't know what YouTube channel it's going to go on, so yeah, that's the only major plug that I'm going to really reference, is that either on Sunday, Oscar night, or the following Monday, we'll have our little review show put up. So yeah, not really much else to say because, well, not really feeling too good. Mostly because of stuff with my stomach. So yeah.